Hello and welcome, dear friends, in the third lecture in this chapter. Previous lectures talked about the exam requirements and the exam technique, and here we are today, by example, to understand all what we discussed, taking into account what we have just covered on exam technique. So consider the following exam style question. Identify possible costs to an organization following an accident in the workplace. Firstly, think now about the steps you would take to answer the question. Step number 1. Read the question carefully. This question calls for you to identify, so you don't need to give much detail. As we saw earlier, if asked to identify, you are expected to select and name. So in this case, name the different possible costs. Next step is consider the marks available. In this question, there are 8 marks. The question doesn't ask for examples, so it's reasonable to assume that for 8 marks you would be expected to identify 8 costs, as the answer hasn't been limited to only 8 factors, so feel free to give a few extra in order to maximize the chance of gaining full marks. However, don't go overboard and watch the time. The question should take around 8 minutes in total. Then you have to highlight the keywords. In this case, they might look like identify, costs, and accident. Then again, read the question again to make sure you understand it and have a clear understanding of costs of the accident. The last stage is to develop a plan, and there are various ways to do this. Your answer must be based on the keywords you have highlighted, and remind yourself, first of all, that you need to be thinking about what costs are there to an organization if there is an accident. Here is the suggested answer. Please read it carefully and get to know something so important. Most candidates should have found this question straightforward. It wasn't a requirement of the question to structure the answer as direct and indirect costs. However, a good structure does help ensure that items aren't missed and helps the examiner award marks easily. Here is the end of this lecture. Thanks for watching and see you later.